Modern day coaches going head to head. Great to have your company wherever you're watching on Fox Footy. Marvel Stadium, round 8. The final game of the round, a third of the way through the season. Once this one is done, Alistair Clarkson, 398th game. Ross Lyon, 313th game. Strangely enough, kind of got the same winning percentage. Alistair Clarkson, 58% win-loss, even though he's coached 4 premierships, and Ross Lyon, 57% win-loss. 4 grand finals, no premierships. But it'll be a good battle between the two this afternoon. 2 captains in the middle for the Saints and North Melbourne, along with Wanganeen-Milera for the gift giving. And we're not far from getting underway. Crowd still building as we head downstairs to our sharpshooter on the boundary, Ben Dixon.
Thank you, Dwayne. Well, there's plenty of matchups worth looking at today, and this one in the middle is intriguing for me. Rowan Marshall, seen him come on in recent years, but under Ross Lyon, I think this is the best he's been on his inside game. We know he's a tap ruckman, he can push forward, but his numbers this year have certainly been lifted, and I just think he's got a lot of potential, and we haven't seen the best of him yet, but you can see disposals, he's elite. Contested possession, big one. He's a very big inside player for St Kilda through the middle of the ground, and the clearance game. So not only when it hits the ground, he can help. So effectively having 5 midfielders through the middle. He's up against Todd Goldstein today, which is experience personified when you look at it over 300 games, but this is the level he's got to get to, head-to-head with some of the best in the competition. Watch him go forward as well. Only kicked the 1 goal, so I think he'll hit the scoreboard as well today.
Yeah, spot on, Dicko. He is up against Todd Goldstein, game 302. North Melbourne, strangely enough, has the 4 most experienced players on the ground. Todd Goldstein, Jack Zeeble, Liam Shields and Ben Cunnington. So they do have experience out there, and they've got some youth out there as well, with Blake Drury making his AFL debut, first pick in the rookie draft, so playing off the rookie list. 70 friends and family here in the house, and great to have you wherever you're watching with us. Marshall and Goldstein, and we're underway. Final game of the round. Goldie got a piece of it, got another piece. Marshall got a piece of him, and LDU is back in the team. Look, Davies-Uniacke long forward. Larkey, a hand on it, gathered his own crumb. Zerha ran into a brick wall. In fact, he ran into a steel trap. Steel wrapped him up and get a ball up. Marshall and Goldstein palm down to Zerha. Kicked the wrong part of the ball. Battle went up. Mark wouldn't stand. Handed it straight to Larkey. Bizarre, but he couldn't make him pay.
Good start for North. It's got they've got field position straight away, and then a chance for scoring the board. They're very hard man-on-man behind the ball.
Burns goes back, and it's going to be hard to score against the Saints. All teams have found that, so you've got to make the most of your chances. Mackay gives it back to Luke Davies-Uniacke. Larkey's got 2 to beat Wilkie. You just can't get it past him. Out wide to Wood. Former Kangaroo, he gets a boo or 2, delisted. So it wasn't his choice. Owens pulls the kick shortish. Goldstein, boundary line. Gresham kept it alive nicely, although it was nice until he turned it over. Goldstein, Luke Davies-Uniacke, Coley gives it back to Sinclair. Gave it to Hill. Back inside 50, Membry and Mackay.
Great sign. Big Denny Mackay has the intercept marking from years gone by, deserted him a bit, but he's taken too early.
So a few changes for North. Also back in Perez. Danger here though. Kick inside, and the turnover can kill you. Higgins.
Yeah, that's a little bit of shooting yourself in the foot. The defensive half turnovers are damaging. Pardon me, the defensive 50 turnovers even more so. So to be able to win the ball there and then straighten up, you know, whether it's a little bit of the use or even a basic of taking a chest mark there, but good square up.
Higgins. Had the goal umpire work, but it's only a behind. So let off for North. Quick kick in. Zeeble.
One thing they'll focus on, North Melbourne, in transition is trying to move the ball quick, keep it moving, because as soon as you stop against St Kilda, it's like a trap. They'll turn it over and score.
Good launch. Had it by low, but he left it behind, strangely enough.
These are all half opportunities, Dwayne. That drop mark there, the missed goal from Larkey early. When you've only kicked 7 in the last 2 weeks, 7 goals each week, You've got to grab a hold of those chances every time.
We'll see where Griffin Lowe continues to play. So forward at the moment, which is an interesting watch.
He has. It looks like he's going to get Wilkie and try and make him accountable, Dwayne. We know how important Wilkie is to their whole setup, so his job will be to contest every single time.
The debutant Drury gets his first touch, finds Zeeble, go to an experienced player, not a bad option with your first kick. Mackay, and turns it over to Owens, hands it off to Wood. He pulled it short, Higgins his target, and straight to Zeeble, his old teammate.
North Melbourne players on 2 or 3 occasions there were looking to go through the centre square. They're getting their defenders out wide, trying to open up those channels. Be looking for them to plug the ball through there, but St Kilda defend that as well as any.
Number 2 corridor team out of the back 50 all year. They've been the Kangas, so they're having a crack at it.
Sheasel to Scott, toward Logue and Goldstein. Logue got his hands on it, held it long enough.
Well, that's a big win too. That's Logue v Wilkie. That's the matchup we've identified, so that's a good result early.
Scott, Stevenson. Back to Logue, who is making Wilkie work as he plays as a forward by the looks of things for maybe this whole game. Mackay drills it down the middle. Marshall waiting for it. He caught his teammate in Stocker, let it go. Stocker can mop up his own mess here. Goldstein just as low. The cavalry arrives. Stocker, Steele, Wood. Hunted down from behind. Zerha flipped him, turned him, rolled him, caught him.
Well, we asked a question about pressure early, Bucks. You know, you've got a lot of other things you've got to take care of in this game of AFL footy. But when you're down near the bottom, pressure the thing that's your responsibility. And for a chase down tackle like that from Cam Zerha, who was criticised early against Melbourne for doing the exact opposite, is a good sign.
It's great when you see a guy move as fast as you can remember seeing him when he's chasing a bloke down rather than about to win the footy.
How is that for a modern 2023 tackle? Didn't want to ride his back, didn't want to slam him. Kicks that across the face, though. Marshall saves the day.
Just like he didn't land on his head, Brian.
Well, if you turn a guy 360 to avoid him landing on his head and he actually ends up, you've done your best, haven't you?
Still could land on his forehead.
Yeah, that's true. Crouch goes back to go forward. Little chip kick to Wanganeen-Milera from Burns. Now Hill. Back to Wanganeen-Milera. Membry's calling for it long. He goes shorter. So Sharman back into the team. He heads toward the goal square. Woods down there. Owens got up, couldn't mark it. Sinclair couldn't crumb it. Goes back, gets a second go at it. Marshall scoops the handball over the head of Wood. McDonald right with him. Drury jumps in as well to hold it in. Ball.
The early stages of this match has been really interesting, very good for North Melbourne. I think they've, in any game, as Ross said, you've got to establish yourself. St Kilda haven't been able to establish a dominance yet because North have come to play in every facet at this stage.
Logue likes being a lead up forward by the looks of things.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Well, he didn't hold it, but he is getting his hands on plenty, and they're using him.
I wonder if he's a match-up for Wilkie. We'll keep an eye on that, whether he's trying to prevent the intercept marking.
64 games for Fremantle. Cunnington. Larkey looks for Howard, and Logue looks for the Sharon. Down to Drury, who started well. 70 friends and family in the house, and he's a goer. He was #1 pick in the rookie draft. Burns back towards Scott, got up there. Couldn't take the mark. From the chaos, Hunter Clark. Little 1-2 with Burns, but he's hemmed in. Burns opens it up. Well, Goldstein sees it's his ball and he went and got it. He looked around and realised, OK, I'm the guy here.
It's all the result of the pressure North Melbourne are putting on at the moment. They're getting at the ball. When St Kilda are in possession, they are at them, and they've turned the footy over a number of times.
Good to see Alistair Clarkson reaching into his bag of tricks with the Logue move.
You made the point, Gaz, about North Melbourne's control of this early stages of the game, but they've only got 1 point on the board. So that's what St Kilda do. When they don't have dominance, they can still prevent the opposition from hurting them.
You almost try to keep a clean sheet. The Saints, Drury heads to half forward. Goldstein got there. Hunter Clark had it plucked from his grasp, and Big Goldie turns. Pocket. Just over the top of Zerha. who keeps it alive with a little toe poke, then goes back and gets it. Caught by Howard, dumped into the deck.
1-2-7, the pressure from St Kilda early, and North Melbourne are serving it up, and Zurha appears to be in the sort of mood with North fans love him, just in everything at the moment.
Yeah, you can sense it, can't you? Just needs that first goal, maybe. Hunter Clark, his kick ricochets. Toe poke, Ross. Simpkin, caught, stripped. Still alive. Oh, that's high, maybe on Paul Curtis. No, let it roll. Squeezed away by Shields, not the required. Marshall, and from the organised chaos, Burns, Hunter Clark, heads out wide to Butler. Open space if it pops. It popped to him, and he realises he's got Sinclair. He made him reach for it. Heads long, Membry, one-on-one. He gets there on the bounce. Looks inside, flips it. Missed Filippo completely. Mackay wrapped up by Mateus. Ball up.
Good contest. They're both forward lines outnumbered at the moment, so this is the free kick that you thought may have been there. Initial contact may have been high, could have been a bit stiff, but adapting really well here, North.
Marshall bangs it back to a 2-on-2. Knocked away from Gresham. Perez. McDonald gets it out of the area. And Drury called in. Did well, the kid.
He did.
He doesn't take a small step, they say. Well, he's small, so he'll take a few small steps, if you know what I mean. But
not a backward one.
No. Long kick. High mark, Wilkie. Play on! Launches wide. Mackay. Mark's Membry. He's having a good first quarter.
Third intercept mark from Mackay.
Great opportunity for North to lower their vision a little bit now. They've bombed in 4 times for obviously only 1 score, so good opportunities to compose themselves.
Sheasel.
Play on your out.
Told to go because he ran around. He might launch. He doesn't. Goes for the pass. Oh, hit Larky lace out, and he spilled it. Drury goes back in.
Did exactly what Ben Dixon asked for. It was perfect. And then now the young first gamer's going to have a look at it, Dwayne. Get the tonsils there ready to go here.
Well, the family are ready to go crazy. The friends are ready to go crazy. He missed out on the main draft, was first pick in the rookie draft, averaging 19 possessions a game in the VFL. He was famous for being an Australian Open ball kid. Travelled the world as a ball kid.
Hey, when you've been struggling and down and out of it, a first gamer kicking the first goal of the match could be the thing that just gets you going here.
And the crowd give him silence. In he struts, the debutant. It's across the face. Go behind.
2 differences in game structure. North Melbourne have had 38 kicks and 13 handballs to have 51 touches. St Kilda the same amount, almost 1 for 1, 26 kicks and 25 handballs, trying to handball the ball and move the ball forward with run a little bit more.
Membry got down low. McDonald there for the fist. Knocked it straight to Mackay. Sheasel. Bergman back in. Nice fake from Simpkin. Mesmerised a couple of them. Back to Sheasel, getting plenty of it. Nice to deliver to Paul Curtis. And he heads inside. He's got Shears or he's got Curtis Taylor.
That's probably one of their best passages of play, I would imagine, for a while. I mean, the ball use was great. It started with Luke McDonald back here, the co-captain. Now, Higgins was goal side of him by about 20 metres, but he was brave enough to leave his man. He was the one that got the fist in that started this rebound, and now it ends up with a shot at goal.
Played 12 goalless minutes so far. Curtis Taylor. It's on track if it's got the legs. And they're going to check it.
Thanks, Griffin. Let him run, guys. Let him run.
I believe it's behind. Can we confirm the ball was touched before crossing the line?
Sure.
So called it behind.
Umpire's called from behind. Quickly check to see if the ball was touched before crossing the scoring line.
Review underway. Okay. Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball is touched before crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on
Larky's
scoreboard.
convinced. He looks like he's celebrating it.
No, indeed.
Should have been shepherding.
Seen a bit of that this year. So, only behind, and the dominance of possession, North Melbourne not translated on the scoreboard. Sinclair wide, Sharman and Filippo.
The positive for North Melbourne early is they're making St Kilda transition the full length of the ground with their entries, so they're getting it nice and deep.
Marnie took the hit. He's also back in, first game of the year for Jack Marnie. And there's Alistair Clarkson. Mentioned both these coaches in around a while. Alistair Clarkson, 398th game. Ross Lyon, 313th. But it's Clarko's 8th game as North coach, and Ross Lyon's 8th game as Saints coach the second time around. Tackle later on Sheasel.
I think Dicko's spot on there. The North's offense has been better than it has been in the first 7 weeks. So we're actually seeing them get the ball deep inside their forward 50. Even if they're not scoring, it actually is a really good position to defend from.
Cunnington, Zeeble. And that'll work. Simpkin looks inside, got it from Tucker. Gave it to Shields, to Goldie, who sweeps one along. Marnie. Caught by Wanganeen-Milera. No prior, ball up.
Great tackle, and hasn't he started well? 5 touches. Just a slowly emerging star of the competition, Wanganeen-Milera. Been released into a halfback role so he can be involved in more offence as well.
Big Goldie feeds out another handball. Simpkin body lined it. Burns picked his pocket. Rolls it towards the wing. Crouch. Filippo. Sharman. Hunter Clark, and they're out. Hill feeds it inside nicely to Membry. And he plays on immediately. Goes to the goal square and thumped through for a behind. He could have gone back, Membry. It's normally right in his wheelhouse. A shot from there.
Really strange decision to do that. In the end, Butler's looking for front-on contact, I think, in the goal square. But just that's what we see every now and then with North Melbourne. They lose their way when they're defending, and all of a sudden out the back, St Kilda players are 20 metres free.
That could be ball. It's not. Crowd thought it was. It's a North Melbourne home game for the record.
Had to be holding the ball. It's that hard to get a holding the ball in today's game. When they're there, pay them.
So Tucker goes inside. Zeeble, Core, Mackay. Heads long. Paul Curtis caught behind, and Patton got there first.
The idea was right, though. Make the ground nice and big, and you can get through their defence.
Stocker to Hunter Clark. Crouch. And plenty of room wide to lead into. Steele.
They do look likely when they go forward. When they can get forward quick, then there are, I would imagine from a North Melbourne point of view, there's too much space between the defender and their direct opponent. The last 3 times they've gone inside 50, they've probably had 4 options where they could have gone, and that would be a concern early for Clarkson.
So Gresham 2 straight last week, and that loss to Port Adelaide, 8-4 for the season. And he's taking the responsibility. Or did he centre it? I think he did. Mason Wood got there from 4 deep. Take the mark. Crouch.
So one thing Clark will be happy with, they're +7 in contested ball around the field. So the stoppages have been a strength of North's, and they're +1. That's been an area they've done pretty well. But to be able to get contested ball around the field, you need to have worked hard and have your game in shape. And that's definitely what they're showing this evening.
Zahar comes up to make a contest, thumped away from him by Battle. Careful tackle. Battle tried to kick it off the deck, missed it. Tucker goes inside, dangerous, but fortune might favour the brave. Marnie tries to give it off. The flick over the head was delightful. Sheasel was in the hole. Larkey couldn't pick it up first time, jumped on by Battle. Umpire circling. There's a number of bodies between him and the ball, and calls for a ball up.
You called it, Dwayne, just that ability to take the ball cleanly. Yeah, the basics and the little things done well and put together is what makes the best teams work. And Larky there, you know, just the clean use off ground level in that instance would have opened up the next opportunity.
Instead, we've got a ball up. And Logue doing the ruck work. Cunnington caught. Mitch Owen stripped it. Got the handball out. Marnie hassling Steele and hassled him illegally, and player down the middle, Hunter Clark, slowly getting to his feet. In the meantime, Steele has it. Coming off a 28 possession game against Port last week. 11 tackles. Burns.
Possession 10 for this young man. He's at his own footy.
He's played every game this year after being sub or emergency 15 times last season. Owens was front of the pack. Sheasel, the crumb, always dropped it. Trouble. Butler goes for goal. Butler with a self-service. There's the opener.
There's some DNA in that as well, in terms of how they need to play. Be nice to have the big fella back when he gets back in a week or so to be able to clunk them. But this is.
Look at this. Not sure even Nathan Buckley in his 8 games could do that. Unbelievable handball, Sheasel.
It was. I think then some pressure come back the other way here.
They missed one here too, guys. I mean, he misses that one, but there might have been a bit of contact in the back. But
it's a forward pressure from Higgins too, though, that they love. So as I said, they'll get the big fella back soon enough, but just some pressure there, and his other little running partner gets the benefit of it. So they'll be happy with the way it came about.
Saints haven't been able to score that efficiently inside 50. That it's been probably the weakest part of their offense, but those numbers stacking up again today in terms of they can be more effective, but to get that goal on the board's a way to kick them off.
4 scores from 7 entries they'd take. They'd just like to have a couple more goals.
Still low doing the ruck work, but it's Owens, the opposition ruck, who gets the clearance, and Sharman blocked it.
Wow. Got some talent, this boy, back into the side. He's got the ability to do a couple of things like this where you sit back and go, oh, gee, that guy's got a bit of ability too, Owens.
The Saints forwards have got their hands to a lot of marks in the front half in particular, in the forward 50, but that one stuck.
Put some pressure on Ross Lyon for selection all season. Cooper Sharman, it's been emergency 6 times. Mid-season rookie pick a couple of years ago. That's drifting. But he has looked good in the games that he has played. This is game 16. Former Giants academy player. Had to go to the sandful in the end as this one's smacked to the boundary. Had to go to the sandful to get noticed. Cooper Sharman.
So the North Melbourne pressure that they've brought, the Saints kicking at 58%. And that's why Ben Mackay can take an intercept mark now. He's taken 3 because there's some pressure around the ground. Ball comes in a bit dirty, and then he's able to pick them off. So it's all helping out one another at the moment.
Low down to that Sharman direction, so he's playing forward and ruck.
Well, Sharman has obviously been in great form because St Kilda just haven't changed their team around that much. They've got great fitness across their squad. So for him to come into this mix for Zane Cordy, he's definitely earned it.
Owens rips it out of the air, hits a pretty good spot with the kick, but it was Mackay. He had his chance. Gresham going against the grain to Sharman. As we're talking about him, this is...
Yeah, they got let off then. Ben Mackay should have gobbled that up. Then it would have been his 4th intercept for the quarter.
Zeeble down the spine to McDonald. 50.
So you've seen that consistently now. The bloke that gives the 50, he's not trying to beat that guy back and stay in front of him, because they were giving him a double 50s there for a while, weren't they?
Jaden Stevenson got the double 50 last week, although it was for descent. Long kick inside 50. Off hands, Wood goes back. Battle blasted away. Perez was standing in the wall.
Next kick's important again here.
Zeeble, so the next kick after that kick. I'll get what you're saying. To the pocket, and Larky's there.
Well, that's a low percentage job, that. He's got Wilkie coming off his man. He's got his own direct opponent. Good luck.
Well, that kick against St Kilda is more difficult than against most sides because they've got 15, 16 players in their back 50 religiously.
So every player of both teams within a kick of this ball as it's thrown in. Marshall, Goldstein. Marshall took it out of the air. And Mackay calls for the safe catch. Larky's his target again. Got a couple to beat again. Wanganeen-Milera, Crouch. Little U-turn to buy himself some time. Through the hands of Mackay, and now it's out the back. Hill, it's an uphill battle chasing him when he's in full flight. Floats it over to Butler. Eyeing his second, he rolls it, and he posts it.
I don't understand why a player wouldn't just mark that. Then they've got a choice of whether you want to run on or whether you want to go back for your set shot. Be coaching that during the week. And if he'd have finished it, we might not have had to worry about it.
Right, North dodge a bullet and get away scot-free as Scott's free. Gives it to Curtis Taylor. He in turn to Paul Curtis.
They're waxing.
Davies-Uniacke high. Goldstein resting forward. Marshall caught. Larkey, he's also caught. Got it back to Goldie. Feeds it to Paul Curtis. Hands it to Scott, to Logue. And he can't nail it.
It's really interesting that Logue's gone forward, because that's where he finished again, for Freo. Moved out of the key defensive role and used as an aerial threat forward of the ball for them late last year. And already gone there now.
Yeah, I've been watching it really closely. He does get lost a bit, to be fair to him.
Give him time. Shields back inside. Stevenson got up early and got it.
So we can give him time, but the problem is Wilkie might take 5 intercept marks a quarter in the meantime. But he's got to keep working at it, because it's that important to engage these St Kilda defenders.
Let's be honest, he's not going anywhere near him. He's just playing as a forward, and if the ball comes to him, then that's great.
Yeah, well, that might be the adjustment, but that's a great jump at it. And this young man who's had an interesting career to date, NAB rising star, and now re-establishing himself.
He plays his 100th in a few weeks. It's across the face. It's still in the field of play. It was markable. Marshall's kick wasn't remarkable, but he found Sharman and they get out of trouble. Little chip kick wide. Ross.
They've held him up pretty well here, so they've left 16 times. Well, they have gone inside 50, still on 25% occasions, but it's been dirty. It's been hard work. When they get forward to centre, they look most dangerous with the players out the back, particularly Butler and the smalls.
So a matter of seconds left. Ball in. Time enough maybe for something crazy, but Marshall and Goldstein go at it. Knock to the front. Crouch tried to squeeze a kick away, but quarter time. They're hard to score against the Saints. They do like to try and keep a clean sheet. They've kept North Melbourne goalless. They've only kicked one of their own, and it's game on, quarter time. North Melbourne 4 behind, Saints 1-6-12. Great to have your company on Fox Footy. And don't forget, on Fox tonight, Miami, the F1 Grand Prix back in town in Miami.
But only one time St Kilda have gone end-to-end. They've actually been really good in that particular stat throughout the first 7 weeks.
And pressure gives Mackay that opportunity. Wilkie gets the opportunity to take intercept marks because he's a superstar, but because there's so much pressure on the ball carrier from St Kilda. So North had a bit of that. Mackay ended up picking them off in the back half.
2 number 1 rucks back at it. Goldstein, Marshall, perfect palm down to Gresham. His kick a little wide. It skipped over Scott's head. Crouch hunted it down. Found himself some space. Goes inside 50. McDonald got a palm down. Sharman. Steele got it from Ross. Gave it to Marshall. Almost missed his shoe. Higgins shut down. North plenty of players around it, and Luke Davies-Uniacke made it his mission. Heads out to Marnie. Back to LDU. Not a lot to go too long, and he realised it. Heads out wide to Logue.
Josh battles down the line, so he couldn't go long at all. So they just got to wait for some reinforcement here. Nick Larkey's going to have a very big afternoon. Almost every contest he goes to will be a 2-on-1.
Tucker back to Marnie.
Although Goldstein's got down, so he's got a 1-on-1 now.
Simpkin. Every Saint ahead of him as he hands it off to McDonald. So Larkey, Goldstein, both there. Larkey crumbs it. Got his arms free and then dropped it. Ross. Howard. Sharman.
Been lively.
And he uses Marshall. Gets it eventually. Gave it to Hill. Moves his way through the traffic. Ross, Wanganeen-Milera. Stocker. Heads long. Membry's down there. Almost an arm chop. Bergman caught, dropped it. Membry feeds it out. Wood had a sneaky chance, dropped it, goes back and gets it. He got a bit on it. It's across the face, though.
That's a good call, Dwayne. The distance he was able to get off that sort of half step, really, hadn't really set himself. But, geez, he's had a good year so far. Running so hard, all the way up, all the way back. Can be used as a forward at times. But and shots on goal and score involvements off the wings been huge.
Marshall and Goldstein again. Knocked to the front. Aggression beaten for it by Simpkin, who flicked the handball out to Zeeble. Wanganeen-Milera and Stevenson. They both go to ground. It's in there somewhere. Plucked from them. Hill thought he had it. He had it. Stolen from him by Luke Davies-Uniacke, and he was caught by Owens.
Gee, that's a good tackle. He's got some real physical power, this bloke. You know what he does when he's in and around the footy, but gee, he's got some athleticism.
Almost had that kick within him, and he goes with the pass, and he passes to Zeeble.
Well, there's an outnumber at both ends. So Wilkie's sitting back here on his own at one end of the ground, which means that St Kilda, North have got another spare in their defensive half. That's why it's 1 goal to none at the moment. That and the fact that the Saints can't really kick straight through it.
Sheasel found Marnie. Shields. He sat that for Bergman, but he's good enough. He's also back into the lineup this week. Game 4 for the season, game 5 career, 1 game last year in his debut year. Their picker 38 from 2021.
That's their 50th mark already, Dwayne.
Wow.
We're only, a couple of minutes into the second. They've definitely got a strategy that they're going in with against Saints to use the ball through the midfield and find the gaps between their zone.
Core gets it back again. Heads long. Larkey's about to jump. He was just bumped at the last second on his jump step. Howard, crouch. Zerha bumped him out of it. Goes back, gets it. He's got Wood for company. Gets away from him. Simpkin. Zigzags. Centres. And Logue gets back. Can't mark it. Scott, beautiful crumb. Gave it to Shields. Kick. They've got a couple of goalkeepers back. Wilkie. Gave it to Howard. Finds Wanganeen-Milera.
He was courageous from Logue going back. But again, they've been inside now 14 times for 4 behinds. This is what St Kilda do, and they don't mind so much, Bucks, about the mark. Early in the year they were giving up marks in their back half. And
they're 17th for giving up uncontested marks, so that's not a problem, especially in the back half. It's taking on the same profile, isn't it?
Yep.
Membry from 4 deep couldn't mark it. It's Bergman again. McDonald. Scott just bounced it nicely to Sheasel, who didn't quite have his normal poise. 2 of the Rising Star contenders playing this afternoon, Mitch Owens and Harry Sheasel, arguably number 2 in the rankings, probably in the race for that award.
The boy from Brisbane would be putting in a fair case.
Fair call. Hill ran into a roadblock. And from the scramble.
It's a really interesting stage of this game. I mean, St Kilda take their chances. They've kicked 1 goal 6, so they've had really good looks. The Kangaroos just haven't got the polish to be able to get through at the moment. And this is the arm wrestle. How long do you stay with it?
Scott squeezed it away. Stevenson, Wanganeen-Milera. Brilliant use of the body by Stevenson. Speaking of Rising Star winners, heads to Logue, gets there, can't mark it. And Wilkie, he's tough. And his ball reading ability is amazing.
It's a pretty tough gig, isn't it, when you've got to halve your contest against your defender to get the applause. But that's enough, and they've got to start again and reset now.
And Wilkie's another one of those players, like Sharman, overlooked in 4 drafts. Had to play in a premiership with North to get noticed. Handball inside. Drury, was he ridden? He was.
Well, it's Luke Davies-Uniacke as well. Just his ability to hit those clearances, not just win them.
Little bullet pass is good. And you almost took he took a netball step there,
just in case. Yeah. There you got a call play on. He was ready to go. But you said about LBU, We saw Horn Francis doing that on this ground last week, and Port did it against St Kilda. Now, Saints have been able to square up those clearances. They're actually +1, but LDU there looked amazing sort of going through at that pace.
Huge kick this for their first. He's got enough on it, but
they need some reward.
Inaccurate, yeah, spot on.
He's led the way, though, with their forward pressure, Cam Zurha. As soon as it hits the ground, he is on it like a seagull on a hot chip. He's just paving the way for the small forwards down there.
Sinclair has Crouch free. Hits him. Wanganeen-Milera, who is their exit guy quite often. He's held up by Tucker. Tight ropes the boundary, and it didn't stay in.
Just down here at ground level, really pleased with North Melbourne, their instruction organisation. A lot of them are just pointing, instructing, so got a clear plan here, which is great.
Marshall with the palm down. Hunter Clark. It's a bit on that. Bounced it towards attacking 50. Mackay did well enough. Perez. Marnie. And here we go again. Is the mark game going to be played? Hands it to Bergman. It's got Drury for the handoff. To Perez. Back to Drury. Makes the kid work. Almost laid the tackle on Burns. Straight through Wilkie. And is the meat in that sandwich high?
The work rate of some of North Melbourne's young players has been exceptional. Perez there, even though he gave that free kick away, his intensity was great. Bergman, Drury has been first class, so that was clearly high, but the intensity's been great.
Stocker, Sinclair, Marshall, Crouch. Now battle. Does he want to launch? He does. Gold square. Michito Owens up. Gresham. Second attempt at it. Didn't get enough on that either. He caught a fingertip or two.
There's wire across the net. Hey, I'll tell you what St Kilda are doing is they're having a different look through the middle of the ground. So Sinclair 25% mid this year. He's played 65% tonight. Ross has been 98 mid tonight, 58 mid, 42 forward. So Ross is putting some different numbers through the middle of the ground here.
Wide to the wing. Hunter Clark got there. Got a fist on it. Wilkie up against the boundary, kept it alive. Sinclair. Hill. Stocker.
That might have been a reaction to their stoppage numbers last week, but to my eye, they look like that.
Oh, big collision, middle of the ground. Patton and Crouch got in each other's way. Paul Curtis, huge moment to Zurha. He's had a couple of looks at it, and can you believe it?
He had his mate, his good mate, just running into an open goal over the top. Nick Larkey.
Draw the defender and then put him into space.
Yes. St Kilda got opposition teams spooked. Even when there's a collision like this in the middle of the ground and they've got an out number forward to centre, they still can't get the goal.
Big fly from Filippo. Didn't hold it, didn't control it, according to the umpire.
You spoke about those positional shifts. We noted that until we had enough evidence to go with it. I reckon they've gone back to, or it might have been a bit of trying something new, but I think they've gone back to what's been working for the last 7 weeks. Crouch is in the middle, Sinclair's at halfback now. Whether that lasts, we'll see.
So the Kangas just maybe throwing up something a little bit more competitive. There's no way they come in and underestimate what North are able to do. But they did have a different look and a different mix through the middle early in this game.
Zeeble to Perez.
And what does that Zurha ignoring Larkey over the top do to a team who haven't scored a goal deep into the second quarter?
Well, we'll find out in the next 5 or so. I think North's energy is fantastic. Like their supporters at home should be thinking, right, this is what we expected to see more often in the front half of the season. But you can't ask for any more than what they're putting forward. A little bit of finish would be great.
Ross bumped on the kick. And Butler kept it alive to Burns. It didn't travel out. Perez, was that ball? It was. Brilliant. Brilliant by Butler. Didn't give up on it. And great Burns can have a shot, or he goes with a central kick. Found his target, but Filippo dropped it. Back to Hill. Feeds the handball out. Couple of options. Filippo got a boot on it. Travelled to Gresham. How weird is this?
Do we need Benny Hill music, Dwayne?
Well, it's like a soccer score at the moment. It's a goal to nil. With a heap of points around it.
But sometimes you can have those games where you don't get opportunities. There's been that many opportunities to goal for both teams. Yet, just for whatever reason, they haven't been able to execute.
You can't take your eyes off it for the bizarre nature of it. It's a tight one at least.
They're really emptying out well here for this diagonal kick. That was great work, great to get to that spot. We know that's a clear intent from North Melbourne.
Bergman. Oh. Hunter Clark. Filippo. Looked around, didn't like what he had. A couple behind the ball. Zeeble. Membry!
Well, play on. He's deemed that Zeeble got a fist into that. 19 possessions for Jack Zeeble. 19 possessions in a quarter and a half.
11 uncontested marks involved. Now, they're shooting the ball very well in that back half together, and it's a consolidated ploy.
Simpkin, Cunnington, Tucker. Hacks it out of there, and it'll be coming back. Battle on that battle. Looks inside. He's got a couple of options. Mitch Owens. He falls. It's getting weirder by the second.
Owens he's had an almost game, almost taken a couple of marks, almost been clean at ground level. This is where you've just got to stick with it, because eventually one team will blink.
Marshall! Finally, someone holds one cleanly and go back and kick a goal.
It's a great call, Bucks. It is exactly that. We know that this won't stay the same. We know that, although North Melbourne have struggled to score and St Kilda are the hardest team to score against, but a 1-0 it's not going to remain this way. So you do just hang in and you wait for a big mark from your ruckman inside forward 50 and wait for him to convert or something of that line.
For the second for the Saints. In he struts.
And if it's not him, then someone else has to step up and keep presenting until such time that it changes. But the mindset of North Melbourne was really interesting in amongst all this as well. It's just how much belief have they got?
Sheasel. Higgins came at him. He fed it away. Butler, little knock. Membry's got it. Perez has him. Wraps him up.
St Kilda have just come forward a little harder into their front half to turn the ball over. 2 or 3 turnovers in the last 5 minutes where North Melbourne were working the ball through that part of the field really without pressure.
Throw a tea towel over about 20 of them right now. They're all in there.
Just on the Rowan Marshall missed goal. That's the polish in his game. He's doing everything right. He goes forward. He's kicked 1-4 this year, so that'll take his game to a new level.
Goldstein nearly got his own work. Hunter Clark fed it on. Membry saw it knocked away. Back to Marshall. Almost gave it to Steele. Towed away to Burns. Kick smothered the ricochet. Drury, nice handoff. Got it to Tucker. He fed it out, hoping for Bergman. Missed him. Free kick. It'll go to Bergman.
Yeah, I think against Stocker there, who did close up, as Bucks was saying. There's just so much traffic around the footy at the moment. They can't get out.
Sheasel. Zeeble. It's got Drury. Great kick. And they're trusting the debutant. They're using him. Shields heads in the Stevenson direction. And he got it off hands. Larkey made the commitment. Stevenson with the pass, but it's wide. Battle short to Wilkie.
So that's 17 inside 50s now for the Kangas for no score. 18 inside 50s for the Saints for a goal, but they've scored 10 times. That's the difference. For Saints fans, the frustration will be starting to tell a bit.
Big leap, Sharman! On an all-time high.
He's been the most likely forwards. He's looked clean. He's looked like the one most likely to do something.
Spears it to Mackay, who can go up and not quite as good, but just as valuable.
It's a good jump at it, isn't it? It's a really good jump, and you've had to bide your time. 6 intercepts to Mackay. As we said, the outnumber's been at either defensive end of the ground, so as Jack Zeebel's taken 13 uncontested marks.
Nice pluck from Stocker.
I got it too, Brownie. That's good. Love that call.
Heads back. No, he doesn't. Goes inside. Patton. Wilkie.
It's a true game of chess, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, through the middle of the field, it's been relatively even, relatively consistent. Both teams with their chances at either end, unable to take them.
Two great modern-day coaches digging deep into their bag of tricks.
Coming out after half-time will be fascinating to see how they handle it.
Oh, turnover. So it opens up now for North. Marnie. Paul Curtis. Zerha, pocket, slipped through his fingers. It is bizarre. It's like a...
Turn back the clock, do I know they have the two old coaches. They've gone back to those days where scores are very hard to come by.
Yep.
Someone might have to remind them that we've changed.
A parallel universe kind of game. Back into play. Luke Davies-Uniacke. Stevenson. Left doors closed on him quickly. Did he have prior? It came out. Crouch. Thumped away by McDonald. Filippo. Flicked it over his head. Little toe poke. Through his legs. Higgins. Butler. Hill. Chips the kick. Couldn't find the target. Good fist by Sharman. Got it away from Perez. Little fumble. Trouble now. Higgins. Did he get one high? He did.
Well, initially he couldn't find the target because of the committed chase down.
Curtis Taylor, brilliant chase.
Taylor, who just refused to concede anything and just got a little hand in there, and then the kick was off fractionally. So now Higgins gets the opportunity to do what only one player's been able to do today, and that's Dan Butler, who kicked the only goal of the game in the first quarter.
It was normally accurate. 14 goals, 4 for the season coming in. There you go. And that's the tale of the day. It's not quite going to plan for anyone.
Might be the shortest game in history too.
Yeah. Ross Lyon's long sigh is probably... Can you imagine how the coaches would feel like, yep, 7/8 of our game's looking okay.
Yeah.
We just need to get the other part right.
And you're right about a short game. We've played 18 minutes and we've got 4 left in this quarter. Steele caught by Cunnington. Higgins swooped on it. And with a higgy shake, he gets the goal.
There's just been very few forward 50 stoppages as well, and we've actually seen some of the best scoring opportunities come from that. And Higgins here just got on the move. Nice little block. He's looking for a handball receive there, but then was back on it. Be a couple of... All you need to do is be a half step quicker than your next best opponent, not necessarily your opponent, but any opposition player and your teammates for that matter. And Higgins often finds himself in those positions.
Goal square, guys. Quickly, goal square.
Having a fantastic season. Jack Higgins, 15th goal for the year. Had a 30-goal season last year. On track to beat that. Gresham breaks free. Membry. Higgins again a little wide. Stays in play though. Mackay tracked it down, turned it over. Butler paddled to his own advantage. He spins out of a jam. He mesmerised them with a little moonwalk backwards and goal.
And this is what Nathan Buckley alluded to earlier. It will turn at some stage, and it's turned, you know, albeit fractionally, but it's turned on the back of nothing too special. I mean, the bounce of the ball there just fancied them, favoured them rather, and then the Mackay handball was horrible, and then a little bit of dancing from Dan Butler. So this is where the challenge is for North Melbourne, because we know St Kilda, we suspect St Kilda are going to hang in. We suspect, you know, St Kilda, with their defensive stuff's going to hold up really well, and eventually their forward stuff will click in. But can North Melbourne now, when they look up at that scoreboard without a goal to their name, can they hang in?
And this is where there's touches and there's touches. So Butler's had 4 kicks for 2 goals. Higgins has had 3 kicks for 1 goal.
Yep.
Down the other end, Zeebel's had 18 kicks. So in the end, you still need to be able to finish when you get your opportunities.
Yeah, I think Zeebel just takes what's given to him at the moment.
I think Jack Zeebel's been excellent. He's playing very well, but when you get few opportunities, you've got to make more of them.
Owens to Burns, who brought his own Sharon. Heads long. Membry's in a good spot here. Gets up there. Mackay just got a hand on it. Caught to Marnie. to McDonald. Hammers it away in the Logue direction. Can he get there? He does, but he can't mark it. Luke Davies-Uniacke read it off hands brilliantly. To Zerha. He's got Paul Curtis long. Needs to be a good kick. Flicked away.
Great defence.
Wilkie again.
How good was that? Running back to the flight, Dwayno. No free kick. Just gets a pure fist into it, and now they're off again.
Filippo, Hill. It's dangerous now for North. They've done so well for so long. Hunter Clark shut down. Zerha wrapped him up. His eyes lit up.
Well, there's an answer to the question. How long can North hold in, hang in? Well, Zerha's hanging in. He's playing what's in front of him. Opportunity to lay the big chase down tackle again, not for the first time. He lays it.
Head to the Larky direction, and Battle dropped it. Ross caught by Shields.
They do need a bit of imagination when they go in, though. They've been inside 20 times now. Most of it's been directed to Larky, who's had an outnumber, or Howard, and one of Howard or Wilkie. They do need to be a bit more imaginative.
Owens down to Zerha. Slung 720 and got away with it. To Filippo. To Ross. Bounced it to Patton. Zeeble caught him quickly. Perez got it from Marnie. Larky, the bouncing ball just eludes him as well.
They're getting it so right, North Melbourne, on defence. It's impact or locate, and they're just teasing enough that they're closing down St Kilda really quickly. So big tick first half for North Melbourne.
Logue to do the ruck work against Owens. Palm down to Drury. Caught immediately. No prior. Would have been ball up, but it bounced away from him. Patton lays the tackle on Zerha. Down to 2 minutes. North Melbourne staring at a goalless half.
Cam Wilkie, 13 touches already in the back half, doing what he does so very well.
Shields, Simpkin.
He's had a couple of intercept marks, but he just controls what happens down here. So you can just see Stevenson's his opponent now. He's pointing, he's playing off him. Just knows where to go.
Shields caught again.
Josh Battle's also free in front of Larky, so if they do win possession, Larky's going to have his work cut out.
Double-handed pat down by Owens. Logue, Owens. Umpires will wear his arm out. Just going to fling it in the air again here.
They haven't had too many spells from goals in this first half.
Owens knocked it down, and umpire's going to have to do it again. The players are getting plenty of advice. Logue knocks it on. Drury's got it. Dispossessed. Hunter Clark to Ross. Sinclair. Patton. Hunter Clark. Dances away from Zeeble. Fed it off hands to aggression. He wanted to keep it alive, but Perez ready to climb. Knocked it out.
So 7 possessions for Gresham. He's one they'd like to get moving a little bit. Jack Sinclair, 9 possessions. Another one so critically important the way they go about it. Like to have him with a bit more footy.
Logan Owens again. It's knocked to their feet. Davies-Uniacke somehow broke away. He fishtailed them. He got rid of a couple and then got the handball off just in time to core. Sends it towards half forward. Well, he had to turn around and go, Curtis Taylor, and he did magnificently to Stevenson. It opens up for Tucker. If he can hit him, he hits him.
Great run at it. It was Curtis Taylor out there. It looked like the two of them might have run into each other at one stage, but he just committed to the contest. Back with a flight as well. Wouldn't have known what was coming his way, and then good enough to find Stevenson, who's now been good enough to find Tucker. So stating the obvious, Dwayne, but you would much prefer to go in at half-time with one than none.
Go on, say it.
Much needed.
Everybody knows it. The crowd knows it. He knows it. And now he knows it. He's blown his line there. He was on the main stage. It was there for him, and he couldn't deliver. Sinclair down the spine. Just need to negotiate the remaining seconds here, the Saints, and they can kind of go in content. Only got 3 goals on their side of the ledger, but they've kept North Melbourne goalless for a half of football. And yes, the ultra defensive Saints, they've kept a clean sheet to half-time. They've done it a few times, kept teams to low scores, 7 goals, 5 goals, 11 goals, 8 goals they've kept teams to this year. Kept Collingwood to 10, kept Carlton to 8. Port kicked 12 on them last week and won that game, Port Adelaide, with 12. So at half-time here, it's the Saints 3-9-27 to North Melbourne, 7 behinds.
12 scores from 21 entries. That's the thing that they will go to work on. The best thing we can say for the Kangas is it's only 20 points at half-time. That's given what we've seen from a schoolboy point of view. Let's go down to Sarah Jones.
So it's been a really strange and tight game, but do you feel like those last couple of goals have just given you a little bit of confidence and breathing room?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they've really come with a good attitude. And, you know, it's on inside. Not a lot of scoring at the moment. It feels like a bit of a fight for us. So I think there's a lot to improve on for us. We feel like we're not really getting into our ball movement at the moment, but hopefully we can work on that after half-time.
You've got very little time and space out there at the moment. They're just not allowing you that. What strategies can you use to work through that?
Yeah, I think we can definitely take the ball off the line a little bit more. I think we're kicking down the straight line a fair bit, giving Mackay and their backs a little bit of space, and I think we need to look to shift it a little bit.
We'll let you get in there and listen to Ross.
Thanks, Ed. Cheers.
Okay, we have a massive...
And the next 6 games, in essence, are home games for North. They're either here at Marvel or they're in Hobart. Let's hope their fans can roar their team into action in the second half, guys.
The Saints would also need a little elevation. I reckon that man there, Jack Sinclair, he's got a tendency to get really rolling in the second half. Just needs elevating the game itself, and he's the man that's got the polish. And for the Kangaroos, Ben Cunnington, who Alistair Clarkson's driven pretty hard, he's just had the 3 possessions, so just so important to remember these clinches, try and set North Melbourne free a little bit and see if we can't get a few more goals for both sides.
So Goldstein and Marshall to go at it. Marshall early jump, Goldstein a perfect palm with Davies-Uniacke had it but was dumped. Sinclair, awesome tackle. High. Owen's got there from 4 deep. Sheasel, the ball's been following him again. Perez was there, he had to wait, he got it, and they waited on him. They wrapped him up.
Their first centre bounce, Sinclair in the middle, Seb Ross off half back. So once again some positional shifts, but Sinclair's chase and tackle brilliant.
Gresham tried to shoot it out. McDonald, Higgins read his mind. Sharman flicked it up. Sinclair, McDonald, Core, kick smothered. Higgins lurking. Well, they can rush it if they want to, and they do.
Sinclair again, he's in everything this first couple of minutes, and good call by you, Gaz, to see what he can bring to the table, but he just brings that just short speed, great use. He's an underrated footballer, even though All-Australian last year.
I wonder if the Kangaroos will change anything about the way they're going. So they've been getting the footy inside their 50, no problem at all. It's what happens once they go in there against this side that just give nothing away at all, St Kilda.
The battle tried to outmark Owens. They both spilled it. It's in the middle. Steele. Burns. Wanganeen-Milera. Sharman. Had a good first half in his return game. Back to Burns. He looked around, see where the boundary line was. Heads a little too wide and then kicks it over the boundary line.
We've seen a bit of a shift already, like North Melbourne forced to kick long down the line from their back 50, and St Kilda were allowing uncontested marks in that part of the field. Potentially they've already pressed up and forced those kicks over the top already.
Zeeble heads out to Drury, and he has looked good, the debutant.
He has had some really good moments. It would have been great had he converted a couple of opportunities, or certainly one in the first quarter, but he's, when he had to go, he goes.
Larky goes, can't mark. Simpkin can crumb with Davies-Uniacke. Little bit of room to move. Zerha spills it, gets back onto it, and he's mess mopped up by Sinclair. Shoots it out wide to Battle. North Melbourne fans screaming for a free, didn't get it. Hill, Sinclair, Burns, Hill, pocket pick, Sheasel, brilliant. And the pass just as good to Larky, magnificent. That's why he's one of the front runners for the rising star.
I just wonder, and they don't have to because he's doing so beautifully at half-back, I just wonder whether they might take the opportunity to move him up on a wing or even give him a run on the ball, Harry Sheasel, because you know he can make some stuff happen. We talk about elevating the game. You know, Sinclair has already been really busy this quarter, but this is what Sheasel can bring to this group.
Been a weird kind of game. Accurate kicks have been inaccurate. Larkey is a great kick. 16-3 for the season. And gets North Melbourne's first of the afternoon.
And Bucks, the thing about low-scoring games is that they're within touching distance again. It's a 15-point margin now. From a St Kilda point of view, that they sit there and they look at this, and they've had plenty of opportunities. They kicked 3 goals, 10. They'll be moaning a few missed opportunities, but just that turnover and then the finish. It just stands out in a half a footy that we've been just crying out for something like this.
You know, those long down the line kicks might actually be a North Melbourne shift. They might say, well, let's just take the contest down the line a little more often.
I think you were right.
And then bring the contest to the front half. And as you said, Sheasel then, the ability for him to be able to read the play, come forward off his half-back position and then hit that target. It's the first target that's been hit in North's forward 50 for the night.
Clarko animated on the bench. Why wouldn't you be? Little maybe on I told you so to the boys on the bench. They're up and running now. Wood goes inside. Crouch. Straight down the staples, hoping for a marking target in Owens. Can't mark it. Sheasel's got it again. Gave it up to Core. And I'm not sure the umpire will cut him any slack with that. It was
so Brad Hill,
sufficient intent.
Brad Hill's got Sheasel or Sheasel's got Brad Hill, depending on which way you want to look at it. It might be the ultimate compliment here from Ross.
Stocker, kick smothered. Paul Curtis, body on the line, great smother, knocked it back down. Lays a half tackle. Stocker gets a second chance and he hits Membry.
So we saw Tim Membry rush one early in the game when we've always sat back and thought that he's a beautiful kick at goal, and he's missed the first part of this season through injury, but he's working his way back into it. So this is what they've got to be doing, St Kilda, hitting up targets when they go in, taking the opportunity to go back and hit the scoreboard.
This guy doesn't miss.
Ooh, gee whiz.
Okay, that's it. Got history says he has occasionally. 2 goals, 3 for the season coming into this game. And
the curse.
Yeah, it's across the face. It's Ben Dixon downstairs. You want to send your letters into Fox Footy?
I'm here all week.
Zeeble heads toward the wing. Logue has been playing forward, comes up to the wing to make a contest and wins a free. He hasn't been playing forward all game. He's been rucking but changing as a forward.
So Wilkie down the line now is with Zurha. So at worst, Zurha has to halve the contest.
He goes to Goldstein, who's resting forward now.
Looking better.
Logue's on the board. Heads out wide to Tucker. He in turn to Lucky. Are you feeling lucky?
Hello.
Big third term maybe coming up.
Well, big Goldie just down the line. That's the absolute key. We spoke pre-game about their inability to contest, super well from an aerial point of view because they've been a bit undermanned. But that is just gold what Big Todd Goldstein did then. And I thought he may have had Zurha on long, but he went short rather, but went long, and it's paid off.
No goals for the team in the first half. That guy doesn't miss. 2 goals in 2 minutes in this third term for Larkey.
It's amazing what a difference it can make when you win a couple of aerial contests. And we highlighted this from North Melbourne. First it was the free kick to Logue, and then Goldstein wins that contest, and then a quick give, and before you know it, you're in a deep one-on-one with the opposition defender out of position, and your key strike forward with the drop. And Logue looked down the line a little more, so it might have been North Melbourne saying, yeah, we like to spread them, but let's take the contest when we see it, and let's take the game closer to our goal. Larkey definitely likes the idea of it. He's been able to get on the end of 2 of them and has been able to finish truly.
8 contested marks to 6 in favour of North Melbourne, so little turnaround.
Goldstein back into the ruck now, and he slams it forward. Quickly in is Shields. Caught, dispossessed. Hunter Clark sweeps the handball. Wood left it behind initially. To Gresham, pops it, and free kick downfield, and this could hurt.
Not sure who that was against, but it's a really bad free kick downfield because I reckon they're going to intercept Mark, the Kangaroos, and we'll have another look at it in a moment. Owen's now with the responsibility. Perez might have dropped the intercept mark anyway, but yeah, it was a poor decision.
12 goals, 8 for the season coming into this. Mitch Owens, one of the young guns of the comp in just game 15. And he can't settle things down, and a few nervous Saints fans around right now.
So he was out, and Cam Zerha, who is overtly physical is the best way to put it, not always smartly physical.
McDonald heads long. Fist knocks it down nicely. Curtis Taylor put his heart and soul into getting his knuckles onto that battle. Blasts it back. Zeeble got a fist on it, but it scooted to the back. McDonald caught. But it's game on right now. Back to an 11-point margin. Goldstein, secondary flick. Hunter Clark, who considered joining North Melbourne over the summer, but elected to stay at the Saints. Curtis Taylor got it to the wing, low. Playing well. Luke Davies-Uniacke, and it opens up for him. Simpkin had to double grab it, gave it to Marnie. Inside with a Marnie kick. Finds Zerha.
Great call, Duano. Now you're getting some speed on the ball as well, so transition from one end to the other with some real speed on ball, and the St Kilda defence under all sorts of pressure.
Well, it's not as organised as it was in the first half. That was just a quick kick out of stoppage. Logues won a couple of contests through the wing, and then they've been able to run off the back of those wins.
3 goals last week in the loss to Melbourne. And there's no one, didn't land in the field of play anyway, but didn't even score.
There was not one North Melbourne player on the line anyway.
So that won't show up on the score assessment next time he's in that position.
Mackay, who started well, got a fist on that. Marshall caught.
So there's a little challenge being thrown at the feet of the Saints right now. Sinclair has been recognised as one that's a fire starter.
Marshall just got a boot on that. Cunnington going nowhere.
Jade Gresham just down on the boundary, guys, with the doctor and physios, just assessing that lower leg in that contest. We saw a little while ago with Zerha, so I'll keep an eye on him for you guys.
Hill, Crouch, just in time. Going away to Burns, off hands. Zeeble did well to Tucker, looked inside, went outside, and he had the option outside. Shields kick inside to Larkey. Big fist, knocked it back outside 50. Cunnington, Zerha. Shields takes some time. No one in the square. It's all battle.
I'd say poor from Liam Shields. He's got a 50-metre penalty now battle, so the 50 had already been paid. You expect a bit more from Liam. He would have thought they'd looked up and saw the outnumber, yet he went long anyway. So they've got a whole heap of momentum. They're winning more 50-50s, particularly through between the arcs.
Well, Zerha left his forward post to go up and help Ben Cunnington, who was being tackled, which basically left St Kilda with an extra 1 or 2 behind the ball.
Zerha's been the firelighter here. He's the one that's the energizer bunny. I don't know what he's had for breakfast or lunch, but and he hasn't always got it right, which is what you get with him. But he's the one that's presenting and tackling, a couple of chase down tackles, and if the rest of the group can take the lead from him, then the Saints have got a challenge on their hands.
So Stocker inside to Hunter Clark. Slapped away, but he held it long enough. Burns, Wood danced inside. That's across the face. Can Butler get there? Owens, Core, Goldstein with a low-down scoop up. Good hands to Bergman. Tucker into a roadblock. He ran into 2.
Great forward tackling from the Saints. Great forward tackling. Sometimes when you're the overwhelming favourite, you can start to feel stuff go against you and you can go into panic mode a bit. They are the overwhelming favourites, and the way to get back momentum is Marshall has a crack, then the next one has a crack, and then the next one over the top. And Tucker's now paid the price.
Well, Goldstein got down as the ruckman in that contest to be the extra number. And then Marshall decided, I'm not going to sit on my heels, I'm going to come forward. So he was the first tackling attempt there that created this opportunity and ultimately the goal.
It was a 50 against Simkin.
Back on.
In the meantime, behind play almost, Owens kicks a nerve-settling goal.
And you can't afford to give those away. Yeah, St Kilda have already proven that they need chances, or rolled goal chances like that from the goal line to be able to score. That they haven't been able to take the ones before this. So as a coach here, I don't want to be giving away these 50s. You don't want to make it any easier for them. They're making it hard enough for themselves.
It's good energy from the 3.
That is 50. Misconduct. Leave it. You've got it. Thank you. Down the line. You know it's straight. What is that ball? Misconduct. Right on the line. Thank you. To the line in front.
Still some dispute in there, obviously.
We might have missed the first one. They asked the question, but he just said misconduct. So anyway.
So not dissent, misconduct.
That's what he said.
Luke Davies-Uniacke kicks smothered. Marshall feeds it back. Filippo went down low to Crouch. Sinclair. Got it there. Just fitted it in.
And that's what the good players do. They just find a way to finish. I wouldn't have expected Sinclair to have missed that. He was always going to take that opportunity, and just because it snuck in, well then, that's how it works. But got forward to the play, clean hands. Filippo could have used him earlier, but little dinky kick there from Marshall was brilliant, just to find a teammate. And St Kilda running forward to the ball, which they've done consistently well throughout this year. And Sinclair finishes.
Yeah, so they've sent Curtis Taylor to him. He started the 3rd quarter, in the blaze of glory. So Curtis Taylor went to him. I'm not sure Curtis Taylor's centre square craft or stoppage craft is as polished as Sinclair.
Goldstein and Marshall. Steele got under that a little. Filippo stalking it. Knocked away by Sheasel. Butler back to Steele. Half-forward nudge on Sharman. Pushes by, says in the back. There's more than a little nudge.
I like this response from St Kilda. I get a feeling that they've recognised the challenge that North Melbourne are starting to present, and they're responding here.
Anna Clark. Goes with a pass option, top of the square. Higgins. Delightful.
That's what you want to see from your big man, isn't it? Get on the end of it, take some contested marks. But that was a low kick to the spot, and there was actually a lot of blocking that was going on, which enabled Higgins to get forward.
And also the need to recognise that this bloke will also always present as a lead up forward, despite the fact that he's only small.
And he misses a golden opportunity. It's still the biggest margin of the game, despite the fact North Melbourne started this quarter brilliantly.
And clearance is starting to tell big time, Dwayne. Every stoppage they get, St Kilda, they're starting to make it hurt.
McDonald. Stevenson in a good spot. Gets there to make a contest. Owens, Paul Curtis, Cunnington pick their pockets, gave it to Zerha. He feeds it towards Larkey, got it. Good guy to give it to.
Right, there's the one that he didn't give in the 2nd quarter when he had Larkey on over the top and he elected to have a shot and missed. And they're good mates, these two. The understanding there of the kicker and the leader was elite. And this is why Cunnington's so important. In at stoppage, they're getting smashed at clearance. This is why he's got to be able to step up and just impose himself.
Never in doubt. It's a hot contest now. It was a little weird early first half. It was 3-0 at half-time, but it's game on.
That's 3 times this quarter that the North Melbourne have been able to go end-to-end. As you see from the kick out here, they're good users, Zeeble. We're seeing this so often where the player who kicks out follows up and gets the next kick, but they're not looking to go sideways and over-possess here, being prepared to go forward to a contest. Stevenson just enough here to bring the ball to ground. And North Melbourne overwhelmed with numbers, and then there's a bit of run and carry, corridor wrap, and Zerha lowers his eyes. So that's the 3rd time that North have been able to go end-to-end. They're going at around 40%. Compared to, slightly lower than that. They were at about 25%, 1 in 4 in the first half, but they've picked it up, definitely going more in a straight line, and Nick Larkey's enjoying that.
So it'll be tossed in the air, and that'll probably favour Marshall over the smaller Logue. See if it does. Davies-Uniacke read it off hands. Caught immediately. Ball up. Logue reached around, knocked it down. Ross looked around and said, I haven't even got it, but umpire said free. Shields to Sheasel. Zerha's from 4 deep, knocked it down. Sinclair blasted it away, but Bergman in the hole. Who does he want? Larkey's got their entire goal tally. He sits it up for the lead. Zerha couldn't get there for the jump. Wanganeen-Milera and Luke Davies-Uniacke had a little touch on it.
Spoke about the first half of Bergman, Drury. They've added a lot of energy. Young players that are having a real crack.
Shields picked it away, kicked the goal, and looks around at the umpire who'd already blown the whistle.
Shows you a point about North moving footy. 10 times they've left their deep 50 or back half, and 5 times they've been able to get inside 50. So that's a crazy number.
And 2 goals this quarter from it.
Marshall wobbles it away. Higgins, brilliant scoop up to Butler. Steele, and they are out. Filippo has a bounce, looks around. They're in his vapor trail. He heads toward goal. Needs a bounce. Doesn't get it.
Not going to die wondering, is he?
What about the words of Ross Lyon ringing in your ear when they go? The first thing he said when he arrived at the club, he said, I don't know much about them, but I know they can run. Gee, they ran. Then they all pushed deep. They had Butler, they had Higgins all in their back half, and they just went.
He's not out of the running for the rising star as well. Mateus Filippo, their pick 10 from last year, yet to be nominated.
He's been a beauty, Dwayne. Absolute beauty.
Goldstein turns back the clock. Luke Davies-Uniacke turns it over.
That's a rare poor decision from him, but they were about set to go the length of the field again then, and the Goldstein contested marking as the link is really important.
Wanganeen-Milera turns it back over. Well, he gave it back to Luke Davies-Uniacke, and then he spilled it. Hunter Clark inside. Stocker. Filippo crashed it to the deck. Core, Sheasel. He just wanted it and got it. Gave it to Marnie. Like a bus hit him. And then he hits the deck, but he's okay. Sometimes you're the windscreen, sometimes you're the bug. He gets himself up and he's okay. Marshall floats it. Well, Perez one way and Mackay the other. Flynn Perez's ball.
Bit of shove from Gresham, I think.
Core. Logue's out there, and great mark by Wilkie.
And Mackay a bit sore after that marking contest.
Crouch's target. Keeps it alive. Davies-Uniacke on his hammer. Higgins. Hill. Hits a good spot with the kick. Sharman. No one near him.
They have risen a bit to this challenge, Buck. So their pressure numbers up around, it's 187 as opposed to 179, which is only a little number, and you can make of that what you will. But I do think they've identified the challenge. So North came, kicked the first 2 goals of the quarter, and they've responded. Steele started to get his hands really dirty, to start to turn the footy over a bit.
Just needs to finish for their 6th. He sunk the slipper in and got it there.
It's not often you find yourself 25 metres out from your own goal, in and around 4 one-on-ones, and you can take an uncontested mark. It was a lovely kick by Brad Hill, but a breakdown in North Melbourne's defensive structures. It might have been a rotation, but Sharman found his way down. You can just see here, front of screen, young Bergman, who wasn't expecting there to be a loose St Kilda player, was just keeping his player out of the contest. But yeah, not ideal for North. They've done relatively well until that point, but and preventing St Kilda from being effective in their front 50.
He might have come off the wing, Sharman. He's certainly starting there now with Scott, so if he's done that, he's covered some good ground.
Marshall and Goldstein. Goldie knocks it down. Simpkin couldn't collect it. Hunter Clark saw it towed away by Steele. Perez against the grain. Bergman gets back and thumps it through for a behind, saves the day.
What about Jack Steele's surge on that one? Like, he actually, we spoke about Cam Zurhaar and the pace that he showed early in the first quarter when he had someone in his sights. Jack Steele then was moving as fast as I've seen him to put that pressure on.
Yeah, there was a real sort of hunt mentality about it.
Bergman to Scott. Bergman.
This is what they did really well in the first part of this game, was just finding that 45 kick. They don't want to get caught in the pocket here, because if Saints defend, as we know, they'll turn over and score.
Paul Curtis hurt.
They have had some success of going long from this spot here to go to Goldstein or Logue, who've been able to mark and connect.
You just see the eyes aren't going anywhere than down the line here, so they've made an adjustment after half-time and been prepared to go to this contest.
Crouch read it off hands to Sinclair. Back pedals, finds Owens. Now on the mark, so he goes toward half forward to Butler. Spills it. Membry. A bit of time, he sits it on Higgins' head. Caught.
It's a bit slower now. It's just a bit more methodical here, because St Kilda are working hard at closing exits.
Perez back to Core. Not sure where he wanted to go. He goes to McDonald. He goes to Sheasel. Possession 21. Coming up for the young gun. Heads wide. Goldstein from 4 deep. And he got there.
Yeah. Big Goldie. It's been huge.
Wants to play next year as well, Goldie, and the way he's playing at the moment, there's a chance to get the extension. Zeeble has got Scott out wide, who has a little bit of space to roam. Paul Curtis. Attempted chest mark. Scott can't keep it alive.
Great pressure by Butler there. Yeah, just the closing speed and desperation to be able to put an opposition offensive surge to an end. He's definitely shows speed when he gets on the end of them with a chance to score, but that was a great work rate.
Possession winners so far in this game, as you saw. Marshall scooted it up. Zurhaar towards Cunnington. Hands it off. Little chip kick didn't quite work for Curtis Taylor. And now the Saints on the rebound. Crouch. Hunter Clark. He was on the carousel until he found an option. Sinclair. Crouch. Caught. Could have been ball. Umpire was blindsided.
Good heat though, both sides. Good heat, good pressure. They had Stevenson on the way forward from a North Melbourne point of view. Missed him. Just got a hand in St Kilda and turned it back the other way.
Steele. Membry under it. Can't mark it. Ball knocked to the deck. Plenty of options. Membry gets it back again.
We're back to that arm wrestle, but not so much in a kick mark type situation. But now it's in the clinches. You know, both sides bringing great energy and intensity to the pressure on the opposition.
Goldstein, Marshall, Marnie scrambles it away. Wanganeen-Milera in the boundary line. The old 1-2. Wilkie doesn't give it back to him. He gives it back to Hill. Sends it to a good spot. Membry from 4 deep this time.
Go, Dicko.
I was just going to say, Ben Mackay down here has been here on the bench for the last 6 minutes after that collision in the defensive half. So looked like a bit of a corky they were treating him for. So I'll keep you updated on that.
Thanks, Dicko. Seconds remaining. Ball flicked down. Great tackle. Had to give it back. Crouch Burns outside of the boot. Ball in.
This is probably what they don't need, given these clearance numbers, which have been all one way. 27-14, 9-1 out of the middle in favour of St Kilda. So it's why the Ben Cunnington, you know, how quiet he's been, has really hurt them today.
Big pack around it. Marshall, Goldstein, Scott against the grain. Got a handball wide. Boundary line was a win for him. Look, Davies-Uniacke. Fumbled out. From an enormous margin on normal AFL standards, but it is the biggest margin of the game. 26 points right now. Ball back into play. Short throw in. Marshall ripped out of the air. Goldstein hunted him down. Crouch. Hunter Clark. Was that a throw? Scott. Was that a kick? Sheasel floats it. Cunnington's got a couple to beat, and it sails. Patton got there, mopped it up. The remaining seconds tick down. So it sounds. 3/4 time. Marvel Stadium, round 8, the final game of the round. A third of the way through the season. Great to have your company on Fox Footy. Big last quarter coming up. Can the Saints get the job?
Line a little bit more, as you can see there. 36 uncontested marks. A little bit sideways in their back half to try and build it. But the edit that you showed went forward, and Todd Goldstein's been fantastic. They've been prepared to go down the line. 3 or 4 of his contests, a couple of Griffin Logues, and it really has broken the ground up and created overlap opportunities for North Melbourne, and Larky's been a beneficiary of that.
So Ben Cunnington's been subbed out, it looks like, which just watching him cover the ground, I don't know if he's carrying an injury or not, but Charlie Lazaro gets a look at it. I think it's the right call. They need some leg speeds. Steele was enormous. Marshall and Goldstein's been huge, the contest.
Final term underway. North kicked the opening 2 goals of the third. Sheasel. What was it to half forward? Battle, second grab. Sits it on Marshall's head. Scoots to the back. Bergman, body on the line. Goldstein. Sheasel been superb again. Big hip and shoulder.
Yeah, well executed from Jackson.
He's down and not getting up in a hurry. Tackle late on Lazaro, so the sub already into the action and getting a touch, and they've already jumped with this sub.
Hold your breath when you see a bump like this. You just think, I hope you get it right, and he did. Under the rib cage, under the arm, and sore boy tomorrow.
With Davies-Uniacke inside 50. Logues down there. Larky's kicked their entire goal tally. Couldn't get on the end of it. Filippo, sneaky chance. Shields. Luke Davies-Uniacke hands it to Stevenson. Heads toward goal and gets the one they needed.
That's one of the it's their first goal from a ground ball, I believe. It's Larky's been taking marks and kicking goals in the third quarter when they kicked their 3, but this one was the first one from a ground ball, nice and clean there. And then Luke Davies-Uniacke, who just reads the play so well, he was able to put Stevenson in 4 or 5 metres of space, and Stevenson does what he does so well, and that is finish when he gets his opportunities.
Liam Shields really important in that as well. So they did need the first goal. They trailed by 26. They'd only kicked 25 to that point in the game. So really significant first score. Stevenson took the opportunity. He doesn't get a heap of footy, but when he gets a chance, he's got to make the most of it. There's the sub. Lazaro's come on for Cunnington, as we mentioned. He's just got to run. He's got to give them the run that they need. This matchup between Marshall and Goldstein's been as good a ruck contest as I've seen for a while. They've both been really, really good. Marshall's been great round the ground. He's covering it beautifully, and Goldie's marking really well.
Simpkin dived in. He couldn't quite collect it and go. Sinclair, Marshall. Spears it. Membry. Mackay into his back a little, not enough. Wanganeen-Milera on the back pedal. Got it from Sharman, gave it to Wood. Central kick in the Membry direction. Mackay right with him. Flicks it to the back. Owens lays the tackle on Tucker. And he's in their sights again. But he's up after that bump. And he's fighting on.
Seems the Saints have caught on there. Sub as well. Gresham off with ice on his knee, and Bytel into the contest.
Marshall a wobbler. Membry went down low, almost plucked it away. Mackay had it, lost it. Chumman tried to kick it out of the air. Zeeble, Scott, Bergman. Did he bend that enough? Nowhere near enough. And Wood has a chance to have a crack at it from here.
Should have let someone else go and take that mark outside of the...
There's the Gresham injury you alluded to, so he's sitting. Bytel eating, hopefully not too bad.
We saw that contest with Zerha earlier. I wonder if it had anything to do with that.
Goes inside. Stevenson knew where he was going. Marshall got it off fingertips. Hunter Clark, he dropped it. Ball.
A good awareness from Stevenson. One of the criticisms of him over the time is that he can zone out and not be living and playing every minute that's in front of him. So that's a really good sign there.
He was in the zone in more ways than one. In the right spot in the zone. Luke Davies-Uniacke long to Larkey and Goldstein. Larkey edged them out nicely. Belief still high amongst the North players. You can sense it. He chips the kick to half forward. Zerha, is he within range here?
Love his energy all day, Zerha. They've taken 12 contested marks to 8 North Melbourne. It's been significant, particularly after half-time.
Sits it up, top of the square, Logue, 1 on 3. Ugly bounce, Sinclair. Wilkie. Owens.
That's where they hold up so well. Despite 35 inside 50s, they've given up just 4 goals, North Melbourne. St Kilda in their back half.
Good grab under some heat from Court. Goes back to go forward to Zeeble. Every Saints player on the ground ahead of him. He sends it into the pack. Larkey, middle of the pack. Ball scoots to the back. Battle. Wood. Nicely delivered to the sub, who's now on by Tell. Scott. Curtis Taylor, high. Stevenson back with the flight. Didn't infringe. McDonald. Back to Curtis Taylor. Back to the hot spot. Logue got up there. Made the contest. Larkey jumped on it. They jumped on him.
Good effort, Logue. Because they keep going in. They are contesting marking well around the ground, but gee, it's going to be hard to take one inside their forward 50 against this defence. Might just have to mix it up a bit.
Goldie tries to swipe. Stevenson can't get away from Steele. Gave it to Zerha. Got some bend on it. Lazaro in the goal square. Has to hunt down Wilkie, who got away. Hill. Not a lot to go to. Sees that. Shows some poise. Back to Wilkie. To Crouch.
Well worked. No panic from this Saints defence. Didn't have anything on down the line, but knew that there had to be some support laterally.
Another concern for Rowan Marshall. This ball's probably going to go really close to him. He's just hobbling after an incident about a minute ago.
Sharman goes to Hill. Owens had to go one way. Got his own crumb. Feeds it off beautifully. Filippo. Membry. Central kick. Stevenson in the hole.
Well done. He needs to do that, Stevenson. But, gee, the Membry kickbacks, he had options everywhere. He just rushed it.
3 blokes out, and he took the 4th option.
LDU.
Marshall's in real trouble, boys. He's running off the field as we speak.
That's a huge blow because he's been as significant as anyone.
It was in his direction as well, and he couldn't get back to go at it. Logue. Shields. Sheasel. Shields. Little chip is okay. Curtis Taylor.
Well, they've been going the same spot.
Larkey's direction. Big Goldie in the crummer roll. Zerha! Couldn't quite get it to bend enough. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. That's a
Rowan Marshall.
Yeah, big story, not just for this game, but for what's to come.
Well, this is where Todd Goldstein's he's got a big motor, Gold. He can cover ground. If he can get forward, the sort of marking form he's in, if he can maybe push forward deep and see if they can't clunk one.
Stocker to Filippo to Crouch. Rolls it, Core should collect if it sits. He gets it and then he rolls it back. The chaos ball doesn't work. Stocker.
So if Marshall's not to come back on, Sharman's addition is even more important. His ability to go in the ruck, or Mitch Owens is the other one that has played some ruck, undersized at times in the first 7 rounds.
Big fist of Core, got it away. Zeeble, his arms free just in time. Scoop up from Tucker, delightful, back to Bergman. Paul Curtis, a couple to beat. Well, he beat them and then he dropped it.
So Goldstein has gone forward here. So Howard's going to take him, which must mean that Logue's going to do some ruck work.
It's one of the great fears as a coach to make your substitution a little bit earlier, and then you end up getting an injured player.
$19 points to margin.
Holding up here, the Saints, doing what the Saints have done all year. He's just holding up. Haven't kicked a massive score, but 4 goals for the game for the Kangaroos.
Logue with a slap down. Simpkin outstanding. The Shields had a good day at the office. Paul Curtis falls and battle fell into him. Couldn't take the mark. Scrambled away for Hunter Clark. Filippo!
Oh, but look at that!
Massive! St Matthias!
Even he looked at the umpire with the look of shock.
Heads long. Over the top, Membry. Tunnel the block.
No. This is a cracking mark.
This kid is an absolute gem.
You know they're playing him as the highest forward, so he's not even been played as a marking forward. He's told, we'll put you in the middle of the ground. You've got the front 2/3 of the ground to go wherever you want. And if he can do stuff like that and he runs, it's going to be something special.
The new hybrid forward role.
Look at the look on his face when he lands. He looked at the umpire with his mouth open going, did I just do that?
Yes, you did.
It won't be the last time. I know we've got an unbelievably talented bunch of rising star kids coming through, but what about this? He's a real young 18-year-old who's playing his first year of footy. He's been absolutely superb.
Sheasel, speaking of young guns who are superb, to LDU. Dives past a couple. LDU gets it back again.
So all the while, North Melbourne have worked their way back into this contest. I mean, a low-scoring game gives you the opportunity to be in it with a couple of goals. St Kilda have squandered their chances. North Melbourne not yet taking theirs.
+6 contested footy too. Early stage, last quarter, full of run.
Filippo floated in again. Simpkin feeds it. Paul Curtis, not the third grab. Wanganeen-Milera. Perez under it. Got the thump away. Burns inside. Hunter Clark had the option short. Higgins going back to go forward. Inside kick, outstanding. And Filippo shows some poise here. Hill. Zeeble. Big set of knuckles on it, but he couldn't kill it. Butler bends it. And Higgins has marked that, and it's been paid. It travelled the required.
Yeah, that's excellent courage. He was under that ball for as long as you can be under a footy. It was coming straight down at him, and he knew he was going to be a target. It's probably the last free hit that anyone gets. You know, you can be going for the fist there and collect the body, but that was great courage to sit under it.
Opens up the angle and slams it home. Their natural-born thriller. That's a ripper.
It really is, Dwayne, because they just had 5 really nervous minutes where North Melbourne kept pounding the footy inside forward 50, goes up the other end. He identified in time that he had to stand under it, and I think it was Perez who also realised that this was going to be a mark if it was paid. It wasn't Perez that got there, but anyway, he did a great job and finished off really well. So really important goal, 24-point margin now. It's going to be tough for the Kangaroos, and just a little bit of the professionalism for the Saints coming out now.
And you can see Higgins on the bench. They're down to 3 at the moment. Rowan Marshall is down in the rooms with that left ankle injury.
Yeah, so that's a really good point as well. So it's a bit of a taxing, and Goldstein's had a big influence. This is the first time Owens has been up against him all night.
Zara couldn't pounce on it. Simpkin does. Go over to Sheasel. Little look away to Shields. Overcooked the handball option, though. Back against the grain was Owens.
You spoke about Filippo and what he's looking like. We've actually got Sheasel v Filippo. We've had that for the majority of this second half. Sheasel was the highest defender for North in the role that he's played consistently, and Filippo in that role for the forward role for St Kilda.
Hill to Stocker.
So the one area they've held sway all night is clearance. Marshall off the ground now. It's a little opportunity.
Filippo was front. Membry was at the back. Sends it inside 50. Can Marnie get there? It can, but he didn't kill it. Wood got there. McDonald cut him down. Still alive. Burns ran into a roadblock.
Did a good night, Burns, right from the opening quarter.
Great first quarter. He's continued, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been really industrious.
Tossed in the air. Goldstein had a free rein. Mackay. Hill's under it. Drury, the debutant, with him. Patton. Drury. Clark left it behind. Hill just picked Simpkins' pocket and found Goldstein in the hole.
North have been enormous at matching the numbers around a contest. So, I mean, St Kilda pride themselves on outnumbering you, but North have really held their own on.
Marnie to Stevenson. He really worked hard to get there.
He did. There's been some signs that the penny's dropping a bit for Jaden Stevenson.
Tight ropes to boundary to Shields. And he couldn't quite. Ooh, Steele. And the ball didn't go back to him, but umpire cuts Liam Shields some slack in game 263. Gives him the benefit of the doubt. Sorry, Dicko.
Sorry, Dwayne. No, it's me, mate. It's a chance for St Kilda to get the ball in their front half. They've 2/3 of the play's been a rider screen for North Melbourne.
Filippo, almost. Perez. Burns just flipped it up in hope. Filippo holds the ball and McDonald in.
Just got their nose in front from an inside 50 point of view, 43-42. So it gives you some idea of this contest.
Goldstein. Shields put his head down and got a high. Possession 23. So 24 points the margin. Hands it off to Bergman. Slips it wide to Larkey. Comes up to the wing to give an option.
Goldstein now down the line with Owens.
And Marshall's just on the boundary line, Gaz, just warming up again.
Zaha got up, but he ran under it. Wilkie outread the lot of them again.
What a star this bloke is. 5th intercept mark. Just been an absolute rock again tonight.
Steele.
Just never flustered, Cal Wilkie.
He was a premiership player with North. He was overlooked in 4 drafts, and he decided not to go on the end of the season trip after they'd won the flag because he wanted one last crack at getting drafted, and it was worth it. He's a star of the comp now, and he might be all-Australian bound. Wanganeen-Milera. Battle.
Worked their way through this really well. 8 minutes on the clock. Now still a big margin, big margin given the scores. So just to possess here is pretty good footy.
Patton to Sinclair, back to Patton. Here's Sharman. Wanganeen-Milera inside if the kick's good enough, and it's good enough. Stocker. It's a tough ball to grab, but Marnie stood there and catching a low flying duck. It was wobbling and it was low, and he went down low and got it. Stevenson. Larkey under it. Can't mark it. Howard can't crumb it and go. Again, Wilkie. Right spot, right time. Wanganeen-Milera. Stocker. Sinclair. Got the answers and the lead at the moment, the Saints. Hill danced inside. Heads toward goal. And Mason Wood.
Gee, that's a good mark. And Ben Mackay and Luke McDonald were the two opponents, and maybe when they have a look at that particular contest, they'll be disappointed they couldn't have that between the two of them.
Well, Wood was playing for the opposition side and kicking goals as a third tall forward when he began his career, and this is when he actually looks most damaging, when he's sliding into space and has a chance to have a run and jump at the ball, and got the highest point there, was able to find it on the second bite.
It might have been just too good a kick. When they had a look at that, it might have been a bit harsh. It was just a magnificent kick.
Punches the margin out to 5 goals with 6.5 left.
Well, I think the Saints to take this, they had to work really hard from the opening bounce of the game, and it's been hard to come by, and they'll look at the fact that they've kicked 8 goals 15 from 45 entries and say, well, we're scoring better than half the times we go in there, and to be the 30-point margin, well, they'd be maybe potentially disappointed with that, but they've had some genuine competition against this North Melbourne side, but this is a sign of where they've come, St Kilda, of how far they've come. And there's exciting stuff ahead. We know, we spoke to Ross pre-game, they're going to get players back over the next couple of weeks, and while you're waiting for some of them, as Rowan Marshall looks like he's okay, he's got the boots back on, he might not come back on if they've got this under control, then banked wins are just going to be worth their weight in gold.
Owens in the ruck against Goldstein, who had the reach on him and the experience. Shields feeds it on. Marnie hands it on. Drury. Logue. Lazaro dropped at the sub. And Paul Curtis dropped.
And that's just that's the first game, so we're not critical of him, but as a whole, that's the stuff that Alistair Clarkson will look at and say, hey, when we get clearance like that, we must score. We just have to be able to find a target and score.
Goldstein ripped it out of the air. Scott almost caught high. Stevenson the fend off. Burns thought he had it, but he had it stolen from him by Sharman, who bangs it to a 2-on-2. Corby hunted down, corralled, heads out wide. Drury's going to have to go. He's got a couple around him and content to see it out.
So you can just see the Marshall injury there. Just watch the left ankle. Yeah, that one outside. So Eyston out of the game.
Goldstein front spot. Shields. We ducked into that, so no free to Curtis Taylor. Sharman had it, lost it. Shields gets it back. Perez. Nice poise. Lowe's going to have to go. Does with a fist, knocked it down central. Scott. Caught. Ball. Not a legal disposal.
73 tackles they've laid. 73 for the game to just 44 from the Kangaroos.
Yeah, some of their games stood up really well. Just 13 scores against from 44 insides against, so that's less than, it's around 30%, which is better than their season average, but that's stacked up consistently.
Patton to Hill to Zeeble.
Yeah, so they're big ticks, aren't they? I mean, it's not going to be their best win for the year, but it is it's consistent with how they've been playing.
Battle heads out wide. Was aiming for Higgins. He got Marnie.
Yeah, there's system and then there's execution. And the execution hasn't been great at times today. Both sides, really. But both systems have actually stood up really well, in particular St Kilda's defensively.
It's a little too wide. Wanganeen-Milera. Master Clarkson, who'll Coach's 400th game in a fortnight. Last week his 100th game as a player and coach at North. Inside kick to Zerha. Plays on quickly. Shields short the load.
He's got the distance in him.
The Zerha handball is, again, when you're reviewing when this team's reviewing it, and there's young players in there, just the ability to get it going quick means that Logue can then lead up, and now he has a shot at goal.
Can't kick his first as a Kangaroo. It's still in play. Falls to Scott. That's across the face. Drury needed the bounce.
Just tried to caress that one, didn't he? He just didn't give it anywhere near as much as I thought he might.
Goldstein a little flick down. Ross got it away, but straight to Sheasel, who bangs it back to the hot spot. Logue from 4 deep. Went with the double fist. Wanganeen-Milera clever. So Crouch, not a lot to go too long. He realised it, had to feed it back, and well used, really, Stocker. A bullet inside to Higgins. Opens up, open side. Hill needs a bounce. Went back, got it. Wanganeen-Milera feeds it wide to the one-on-one. Butler, nearly. Lazaro. Zeeble, caught by the ear.
I think for North Melbourne and their fans, it's been a pretty despairing 4 or 5 weeks. What they get out of this today is against a team that we think are genuine and have taken huge step forwards. They've been really competitive. That they can compete if things are in place and they take the right mindset in. Jack Zeeble's less than impressed with this. And
Butler goes at him again. And 50. Butler, Zeeble.
And that one over, boys. It's late in the game.
Drury, in the meantime, they sort themselves out behind play. Shields, Perez, Marnie, Zerha, big Goldie in the pocket, and he's content he couldn't get a handball away.
So this is what it looked like if you needed to have 4 players, two contests in the opposite 50. Try and stop congestion. This was 2 players that just got out of hand. It was a bit of a battle of wills. Didn't want to give up, did they?
Too late in the day to be writing a cheque for that, Bucks.
Correct.
Owens knocked it down, straight to Curtis Taylor. Battle can rush it through.
Lots of positives for North Melbourne today. They've been in this game for 4 quarters, hung on through a number of passages of play, but I just think the way they've structured when they haven't had the ball has been an enormous tick for them today as opposed to in recent weeks.
Yeah, and you suspect that will take some time with the way that Alistair Clarkson wants to coach, and I think all that is absolutely true, and from a St Kilda point of view, they would be equally as happy to take this 30-point victory against the team that have come and played with a greater want and desire. And they've just stood up. They've conceded 4 goals again today. I mean, at the end of the day, they're averaging just over 8 goals a game against. That's going to take you some way.
Patton. Steele and Mackay started the game well. It's been a tough task, though.
It's been a tick, though, Dwayne. He's got back to 7th intercept mark. That's more like the Ben Mackay that we've seen in recent years.
Yeah, bone stress fracture injury started this year. Butler lurking, and umpire will sort it out with the ball up as pleads his case. Goldstein had the reach on Owens with Davies-Uniacke. Stolen back. Sharman. Crouch. Plenty of options to give it to. Patton, little chip kick. Delightful. And a chance for a late addition from the sub, Jack Bytel. Seconds ticking down. They've done it again. The Saints essentially kept the team to a losing score. Kept Fremantle to 7 goals, Bulldogs to 5 goals, Gold Coast to 8 goals, Carlton to 8 goals. Bytel launches. And the siren sounds. Top 4 still the Saints. They've won 6 from 8. And Ross Lyon and his men, a massive defensive force to be reckoned with. 8-16, 64 to 410, 34.
As you mentioned, Dwayne, a 30-point win isn't huge in terms of modern-day football, but it's nearly double the opposition score, and St Kilda did exactly what they had to. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't sharp, it had missed opportunities everywhere, and it had warts on it at times. And you can see that by Ross's demeanour in the box after, but there were elements that stood up and stacked up to what we've seen in the first 7 rounds, and they'll take that one and they'll move on.
Let's head downstairs to Sarah Jones.
I've got Mateus Filippo with me. That wasn't the prettiest game of football we've ever seen, but the 4 points so crucial. You guys are into the top 4 now. How are you feeling enjoying your first year of AFL football?
Yeah, look, I can't really put it into words, but I'm absolutely loving it. It's such a privilege to be able to play the game that I love and you know, make a living out of it. So it's been awesome.
The highlight for us today watching you was a magnificent marker. If you have a look over there, we've got the vision of it. Talk us through what was going through your mind there.
Yeah, I just saw it up in the air and I knew there was a contest forming, you know, beneath me. I just jumped and, you know, got a boost and got up there and gladly hung on to it. So, yeah, it was pretty awesome. Did
you take many speckies as a junior footballer?
No, I haven't. I've only gotten on shoulders like twice now, once against Carlton, which I dropped, but then that one. So I've always had the jumping ability. I just haven't gone for him, and that's been something Dad's spoken to me about. But, yeah, I guess Robert Harvey's been great in that sense, telling me to go for my marks, and yeah, I guess I'm starting to get up there.
I reckon that's a contender for goal of the mark of the year?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'll leave that to the fans and judges.
Well, we think it was your first year and being under a coach like Ross Lyon. What's the number one thing you've learned from him?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the best thing that he's taught me, you know, as a person more so than anything, is just to focus on process. You know, whether in football or in life in general, just, you know, stay focused on the process, don't focus on results, and you get to where you want to get.
We often hear first-year players get to this part of the season and it becomes a bit of a grind, you get a bit tired. How are you feeling physically with your energy levels? Are you feeling like you might need a rest soon?
No, physically it hasn't been a challenge. Surprisingly, it's been mentally. Just taking my mind away from football more than anything, and the boys have been great in that sense, Ross as well. So, yeah, just staying focused mentally off field, you know, whether that's uni or enjoying time with my friends. So, yeah.
You've got the Crows next. Always good to get back to South Australia, where you grew up, and be able to play in front of some friends and family.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to having that with friends and family in the crowd.
Well done tonight. Well done on that mark, and we're certainly enjoying your career so far.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it.